cover something which is very fundamental to the entire art of storytelling, which is emotions. We all understand stories are about emotions. Unless a story creates or evokes a certain emotion in you, it won't be engaging. Now, what are the basic kinds of emotions that any story can create? Basically, it can make you happy, it can make you sad, it can make you laugh, or it may just disturb you. So these are the basic emotions that a story creates. But in this lesson, what I'm trying to talk about is something more deeper. There are basically two strategies in which a story is told, and that decides the kind of impact and the kind of viewing experience a person has while watching a story. So one strategy is the linear strategy, where the storyteller assumes that the audience doesn't know anything what they're going to be watching. So he believes in telling the audience the story right from point A to point B and ultimately culminating into point C. So he assumes that the audience doesn't know anything, so he literally spoon feeds him into the chronology of events as they happen. So right from, say for example, the kid is born till he ultimately becomes a terrorist, if that's our story. He will begin from how, what the circumstances were when he was a child, then what happened next, then what happened next, and ultimately why he became a terrorist. So this is a linear style of storytelling. Now, there is one strategy which is completely reverse to the linear strategy, and that basically comes from the emotion of suspense. So let's look at this emotion of suspense a bit more into details. Now when I say suspense, I just don't mean suspense films, where a murder has happened and the viewer or the killer, the murderer is missing, and you have to find who the murderer is. That's the classic idea of suspense. But what I'm talking about is suspense as a strategy of storytelling also applies to something like a regular drama tale. Suspense works on the concept of ellipsis. Now what is ellipsis? Ellipsis is that you don't tell the viewer, even though the viewer doesn't know anything about the story, even here, you play with the viewer's imagination a little more. You tickle him a little more by not telling him things exactly the way they happened. Sometimes you tell them the beginning, then you completely miss out the in-between portions, then you tell him something else from somewhere else. And this is how you keep playing with his imagination. So he's all the time making connections, till the point he reaches the end, where all of this seems to fall in place, and that's where he gets the whole juice or the fun of having watched this story. So you are not taking him in a chronological order of events, but you are all the time playing with his imagination, and through suspense, by all the time creating suspense and creating this ellipses and missing information, that you are driving the story forward.